Diaries by Crick Heroes. Thank you for joining us today. Today we have with us someone who I know personally for quite a few years. He has been multi-talented, whether in poetry, music, baking, or making some awesome cocktails. But everything goes out of focus on the weekend because that's reserved only for cricket. Let's welcome Sarit Sethi to take us through his journey. Hi, Sarit.
Hey Amrita, how are you? That's a fairly elaborate introduction. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yes, and was I correct? Was I right? Is it only cricket on the weekend?
Well, it's not just cricket on the weekend, but cricket is definitely a ritual that I make sure is not compromised for anything else over the weekend. So typically there are two morning games, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. That's something that I definitely don't miss for anything else in the world.
That's wonderful. So now going back, just take me back to that point when all this became like a passion for you. When did this like cricket became really a passion for you?
So, like most of us, the journey goes way back into the childhood, right? And for me, I think a very, very influencing figure who kind of guided me through my cricketing days very, very early on in my, youth was my maternal uncle. And I remember even before I could hit the ground and start playing cricket in a better setup, we used to play all kinds of game at home with shattered windows and shattered glasses. And that's where it really all began. I think he was a huge sort of Ganguly fan. I was a huge Sachin Tendulkar fan. We always had this rivalry between the two. And that's really how the love for the game began for us.
All right, that's great. And then in this whole time period, has it been like you? I mean, as a bowler, what do you actually enjoy the most? It's been as a bowler, or you enjoy batting the most?
So I actually spent most of my youth as a leg spinner. Trained under Bishan Singh Bedi for a small period of time, very, very small period of time. I think my parents always knew that I'm not going to make it as a cricketer, so they always wanted me to focus on studies. But most of my youth I spent as a leg spinner. I think when I got back to Gurgaon a few years back and took up the game all over again, I realized that that my wrists were not as flexible as before. The body had aged, so these days it's more about batting on the top of the order, and the leg spin has taken a bit of a backseat.
Okay, all right. So and now that you've been playing right now, you're actually working, you're playing, then you have family commitments. In all these situations, and juggling between so many things, what is it that actually? How do you manage to balance everything?
No, as I mentioned earlier, right? It's just about rituals, and the family kind of gets used to it. You make sure that you make time for it. When it comes to work, in fact, the work seems to have benefited a lot from the cricket network. There are a lot of people from the various teams that we play with that eventually end up becoming professional network as well. And when it comes to Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings, by the time work kicks in, the game is already over and done with. So it's not that much of a balancing act. And I think if you can make sure that you're making adequate time for family, for work, you deserve to take some time out for yourself. And that's what cricket is.
Absolutely. So, and especially before an important match, how do you prep yourself?
Well, Crick Heroes helps. We definitely make sure that we go and look into the insights of the opposition team, who's their best bowler, who's their best batsman. Look into your own insights and see what have you been doing wrong in terms of what deliveries you've been getting out on, what kind of dismissals are more common. So you do a little bit of a prep from that perspective. I think another place that Crick Heroes has really helped is prior to that, just organizing the match was a bit of a chore. Trying to get to the right ground, trying to get to the right tournament. All of that has become super easy with Crick Heroes. So I think a lot of the time prepping for the game actually gets spent on surfing through the app.
Okay, that's wonderful. I'm so glad that that's actually helping you to prep yourself. And the other question I would like to ask you that can you take me back to a moment that has been something that you have always cherished in this whole journey in cricket? And a special moment.
So, earlier this year, I had a personal milestone which was fairly special, wherein, me and my opening partner actually had an unbeaten 230-run partnership. and both of us ended up scoring centuries, and that was a first for our team. So that was a very, very special moment. But outside of that, I happened to run into MS Dhoni once. I was at the Bangalore Airport Lounge, and suddenly MS Dhoni walks in with his manager, and the guards all cordoned the lounge off. So for the next 45 minutes, it was me, MS Dhoni, and his manager in that lounge. I really wanted to strike a conversation, but the manager kept telling me off that don't bother him right now, and he was busy in his cell phone. So didn't really get to have a conversation, but I guess that's fine. Just being in that space with him was very special, and quite a few people tried to enter the lounge, break through the security, and he was very, very cordial with everybody. He entertained everybody, took selfies with everybody. So that I think was an interesting up close and personal insight into the man.
I'm sure. And when it comes to fitness, because I think what happens that when you're actually playing while doing a lot of other things and you want to play for a longer period of time, fitness plays a very important role. So does it, how important fitness to you, and what are the things that you do in order to remain fit?
So, interestingly enough, when I got back to cricket a few years back, and I was playing a day-night game after years, and you're out there on the field after so many years and so many months, and you're giving it your all without actually understanding that your body is not the same. And I remember when I came back from that game for about a week to 10 days, I was like, my body was all sore, and it had all cramps and everything. So since then I've realized that the game has become all the more demanding, and you aged as well from the time you used to play the game much more regularly. So fitness is absolutely super critical. The grounds are getting bigger. You need to run harder between the wickets. So my focus is always to make sure that I'm eating right. I think one of the things that I really like doing, which helps with the game as well, is intermittent fasting. So that helps me stay leaner and that much fitter for the match. I think as a team, we try and make sure that we do some warm-up routines, some fielding drills before the game really kicks in. Outside of that, I think we are sorry, middle-aged men that are just trying to get back to our childhood passions. So no Virat Kohlis in any sense from that perspective.
But the other question I want to ask you, like a fun question after this whole COVID situation, I think there's a lot of measures that everybody, whether it's at the team level or a personal individual level, everybody's taking some sort of precaution, some sort of safety measure. So what would be a fun and a creative way to actually maybe acknowledge or celebrate a wicket fall with the team with the social distancing? How are you guys doing it?
So we've actually, the size of our hurdle has increased substantially. I think the radius of the circle is continuously expanding. And instead of, having hand in hand and then trying to get closer to each other every time a wicket falls, these days we are falling back from that hurdle to say that, that was pretty, that was an interesting moment in the match, so to say. But outside of that as well, right, I think from a COVID standpoint, a lot of the organizers have really stepped up their game and making sure they're taking all the right precautions. All umpires and officials are carrying sanitizers. The balls are getting sanitized before every over. The bowlers are getting sanitized before every over. And I think everybody has put in a lot of effort to get the game back on track post-COVID. And these days, I think it's pretty much back to business as usual.
Great. That's so good to know. The other thing I want to go back, and when I introduced you, and everybody needs to know that there's so many things that interest you as a person. So just tell us a little bit about that side of yours as well, apart from the cricketer.
So apart from the cricket, I as you mentioned, COVID, the only positive that has probably come out of COVID is that a lot of us have either rediscovered lost passions or developed a few new ones. So I've taken up baking quite extensively during the lockdown. I was already doing some level of home bartending and mixology prior to the lockdown, and that has really stepped up during the lockdown as well. So just like cricket being a ritual on Saturdays and Sunday mornings, a Friday evening drink with my wife, trying out new cocktail recipes is again one of those rituals that I really enjoy.
Lovely. So nice. And are you watching the IPL?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think just like getting back to the game, watching the game after a long, long time is again something that we've been all looking forward to. It ends up being a great conversation starter as soon as we get back to the field and meet everybody. So yeah, IPL is always much anticipated and much awaited event through the calendar year.
That's right. And any particular player that you are watching this time, especially?
So, one of the amazing things about IPL is you get to know a lot of these young talents that are not otherwise on the national radar. So I think Devidat Palikkal from RCB is showing a lot of good potential. I really like watching him bat. Really looking forward to the two Spitzers from KKR, both Mavi as well as Nagar Koti. They missed out on the last one due to injuries. So yeah, I think for me, my favorites tend to be in two buckets. One are all of your underdogs from the national potential sides, which are trying to make a comeback into the team. Be it the likes of Dinesh Karthik, and I'm pretty sad that Harbhajan is not bowling in this tournament, or the youngsters who are trying to break through into the national sides, like the likes of Mavi, Nagar Koti, Palikkal, so on and so forth.
Which is the team that you're rooting for?
Again, I would really like for one of the teams who's never won the championship yet to win, be it Kings 11 Punjab or RCB. I also would like Rajasthan Royals to do well. I think post the first season, they've not been able to put up a good show. But they've got a decent balanced side, and Shane Warne is back as mentor. Let's see if that helps them in any way.
Great. I hope that you get to have you watch amazing matches this time and also play amazing matches. Thank you so much for talking to us, Sarit. It was such a pleasure to have this conversation with you and see you after so many months, actually, almost a year.
A pleasure as always, Amrita, and your exuberance and enthusiasm about this interview certainly beats mine. But I'm so glad that you organized for this conversation and a little chit chat. I think also just a word for the entire team at Crick Heroes. You guys are doing a fabulous job. The game has the experience of playing the game has improved by leaps and bounds for all of us. And thank you so much for taking the initiative on that.
Thank you so much. I'm sure everybody's going to watch that, and I'll personally convey your compliments to them. And thank you so much. Good luck with you. And for everyone else, please watch out this space again. कल हम वापस आएंगे एक और स्टार के साथ from the grassroots cricket. Till then, take care. Bye bye.